What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome back to my channel. So again, week 2 in the books. Tonight marks the start of week 3. You got Louisiana and Ohio on tonight. So if you can watch that game, go ahead and watch it. But that's not what we're here to talk about. I'm here to give you my top 10 games to watch in week 3. There are a lot of games that I think are going to fly under the radar. And there are a lot of games that definitely could be on this list that are not. Minnesota, Colorado is one. I'll tell you I'm picking Minnesota to win that game. Nevada, Kansas State is one as well. I'm picking Nevada to win that one. If you guys want to hear my thoughts on any game that's not on this list, please leave them down in the comment section below. And leave any other thoughts you have down in the comment section below. Thank you guys for the support as of late. Again, we hit 400 subscribers not that long ago, and it's grown to 414 last time I checked as of recording this video. If we can get that up to 500 soon here, that would be really, really awesome. Continue to like, comment, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff if you'd like. Let's go ahead and get into my top 10 games. But again, these are the top 10 games that I am most excited to watch. And I think we're going to learn a lot about a lot of teams in week 3. Especially teams that, again, you see on the screen here. And we're going to kick it off with the game that you saw there at the bottom of the screen, Nebraska and Oklahoma, newly ranked 3rd team in the country after Oregon beat Ohio State last week. They're going to renew an old Big 12 rivalry. It's their first meeting since the 2010 Big 12 championship game. So high stakes about a little over a decade ago. Not as high of stakes this time, but how will it play out? Again, all lines and odds you see are as of recording this video, and the times are all in Eastern Standard Time. Okay, all right, this is the big noon kickoff game on Fox. This is a game that I have been really excited for ever since the start of this offseason, ever since the end of the season, at the end of last season. Looking at schedules, I've been really excited to see this one. Now, are people going to expect Nebraska to win the game? Not necessarily, no. In fact, I don't think anyone's going to pick Nebraska to win, but I think it's going to be a good telltale game for both of these teams. What to watch for? Again, I give you guys some things to watch for in these games. The Sooners balanced on offense. I think the Sooners are going to bring a lot of passing, a lot of rushing, a lot of different looks to Nebraska to try to confuse this defense. Nebraska has been shaky on both sides of the ball up to this point. They've played really well, and then they haven't played well. And I think the Sooners are going to bring that balance on offense. If Nebraska wants to pull off this huge upset, Martinez needs to have a career day. And I'm sure you guys know how I feel about Adrian Martinez. I think he's all right. I feel like there are better options at quarterback than Adrian Martinez. Again, if college football fantasy was a thing, probably not the quarterback I'd want to have on my team. But again, when Martinez plays well, he's a good quarterback. I've just yet to see him play super well this year, if that makes sense, but does have some good weapons out there. Now, the Sooner defense. The Sooner defense is going to be a thing to watch as well because they gave up 35 points to Tulane. We'll talk more about them in a little bit. And then they didn't really give up any to Western Carolina, but it's Western Carolina and your Oklahoma. I think the Sooner defense is going to be tested early, but I think it's going to adjust pretty quickly. I just don't think Nebraska has the talent on that roster to compete with Oklahoma. By the way, Oklahoma is the 22-point favorite with the over and under being 62. And I make my score predictions before I look at the lines. That's kind of exactly what I got. So 42-20 is my final score. That's exactly the line. That's exactly the over under. Again, don't pay too much attention to the score. Pay attention to who I picked to win the games. I think Oklahoma's going to win this game pretty easily down the stretch, but I think Nebraska can keep it interesting for a little bit. If Nebraska can keep Oklahoma to, I'll say, if Oklahoma wins this game by less than the spread, I think that's a huge win for Nebraska and maybe a good sign of what's to come down the road for this team. Should be an interesting one in Norman. All right, Cincinnati is going to get their first chance for what I'm going to call playoff pride as they take on Indiana. This is a noon game on ESPN. Cincinnati is the 3.5-point favorite with the over and under being 49.5. So they're expecting some defense here in this one. What else do I expect? Well, again, I expect defense. I think defense is going to write the headlines. Whichever defense comes up makes the bigger stop in this game. Probably going to walk away with this one with a win. The Hoosiers' improvement. Look, we know the Hoosiers have not played their best football through their first couple games. That game against Iowa, there were a lot of things that Indiana could improve on. And then that game against Idaho, hey, they only gave up around 290-something yards. Michael Penix, I felt like, could have played better in that one, though. So there is still improvement that this Indiana team can make. But overall, I mean, hey, their defense hasn't played bad. They haven't allowed more than, I believe, more than 300 yards in any one of their games so far. If not, Iowa definitely got over 300. But their defense has been solid up to this point. It's just about that offense to take shape. I think this is a season-defining game for both teams. Hey, if Cincinnati wins, that's a huge push towards the college football playoff. And if Indiana wins this game, hey, you've beat one of the best teams in the nation, a top 10 team, and it's a way to get your season back on track. Probably get you back into the top 25 poll as well, but I don't think it's going to happen. Watching both of these teams up to this point, I just think Cincinnati playing the better football right now, I think is going to get the best of Indiana, win this one 27-23 is my score prediction. I think Cincinnati takes a huge step forward towards getting into the playoff. And I think if Cincinnati wins this game this weekend, that makes the playoff conversation a lot more interesting. That's what I'm picking to happen. Bearcats beat the Hoosiers. All right, 15th ranked Virginia Tech and West Virginia are going to fight for the Black Diamond Trophy in Morgantown. Another renewed rivalry. This is another noon game on Fox Sports 1. And I was surprised to see that West Virginia is the 2.5-point favorite here, with the over and under being 50.5. This is going to be a defensive battle. West Virginia fielded one of the best defenses in the nation last year, while Virginia Tech's defense up to this point has looked very, very impressive. So I think defense, I think you're going to see some offense early in this one, but I think the defenses late will buckle down and make this one a dogfight. Like whichever has the ball last, go down and score kind of game. Again, I wrote that down though. I think the offense will make the difference. Whichever team again has the ball last can be better in the red zone, can capitalize off turnovers. Like I think that's going to be the key. And I'm excited to watch a couple offensive battles here. Burmeister versus Deggy. Yes, Deggy. I said it right this time. Mountaineer fans, I said it right. Burmeister versus Deggy. Which quarterback plays better? And then Blackshear versus Brown. Which running back is able to rush the ball better? Because both these run defenses usually pretty good. I think this one's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be close throughout. But again, the question I've had about Virginia Tech since they pulled off that win against North Carolina is, can they keep this going? Can they keep this up? I think this is going to be, I don't like the term reality check game, but that's kind of what it feels like, right? I feel like this is going to be a reality check game for both teams. We're really going to find out how good both these teams are. And I got West Virginia winning a squeaker, 24-23. I think the Mountaineers get this one done in Morgantown. Both teams, I think, are going to come out of this one with some things to work on, with some things they see they can improve. But I think this is going to be a fantastic game in Morgantown. All right, Michigan State and 24th ranked Miami are going to battle in Hard Rock Stadium. And this is a possible upset bid here. It's another noon game, this one on ABC. So a lot of interesting noon games going on. If you're a college football junkie like me, hey, you want to have all those TVs going, right? I have no doubt in my mind this Miami Hurricanes team is going to get pressure to Peyton Thorne, the quarterback from Michigan State, who's been solid up to this point. That was the huge question I had about Michigan State coming into this year was, can their pass attack be good? Can they limit the turnover progression? Oh, by the way, 6-point favorite is Miami with the over and under 56.5. Now back to talking about Peyton Thorne. Peyton Thorne, a quarterback that I was not really a whole lot sure about coming into the season. In fact, I wasn't sure at all about this Michigan State team. I didn't think they were going to be very good. They've proven me wrong up to this point, and I think this is also going to be a great chance for Michigan State to prove me wrong because I do have Miami winning this game. Now, let's talk about what else to watch for, though. I think Kenneth Walker needs to shine. Kenneth Walker needs to have a big game because the Canes front seven is going to get pressure on Peyton Thorne, and while they don't have a lot of sacks this year, getting pressure on the quarterback is something that Miami has done through their first two games. I think it's going to be a huge factor here to watch in this Michigan State game. But again, Kenneth Walker needs to shine. If he can get past that defensive front seven, he can have another big day like he did against Northwestern. Another thing is, can De'Aaron King finally have that big game? We've been waiting for De'Aaron King to be the De'Aaron King that we've all come to know and love, right? And it just hasn't happened yet. I think this weekend is the day that De'Aaron King finally gets his big game. And I know I said that last week, but I am predicting this game, De'Aaron King goes off, has a great game, leads Miami to a win. I think Michigan State leads this game at halftime, but Miami comes out in the second half, pulls off the win against Michigan State. Michigan State, prove me wrong. I've doubted them the entire season. This is going to be a great chance for them to turn my opinion around very quickly because I'm close. I'm close to switching my opinion on Michigan State, but I want to see how this game plays out. I think it'll be close, hard fought. Michigan State leads at half, but the Eric King leads a comeback, and the Hurricanes win this game. All right, Bama and Florida. This is the big matchup of the week. They're going to wrestle it out in the swamp in Florida. This is a huge SEC matchup early. It is the SEC slated game on CBS. Again, you know that time that SEC games usually play, right? 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. Bama favored by 14.5. And the over and under is 59.5. Who's the quarterback for the Gators? Not maybe just starting this game, probably going to be Emory Jones starting, but down the stretch. And which quarterback plays better? Is it Richardson? Is it Jones? Because both the guys have proven they're very good on the ground. And I think Richardson has proven he's a better quarterback through the air, but also has a lesser sample size. So I think that's going to be an interesting thing to watch. Watch the quarterback play for the Gators in this game. Bryce Young has thrown, I believe, 4 picks through these first 2 games. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I read somewhere that that's the stat. So Alabama got to limit the interceptions here because I do think Florida's offense is going to be good enough to make Alabama pay off of turnovers because Florida's run game is pretty solid. I think their pass game can be good once they figure out that quarterback scenario. And although their defense doesn't have a big reputation for being good, I think it can come up in the big moments and make some plays. I think this is going to be a classic SEC dogfight type game, but I don't think we're going to get the instant classic that we did last year in the SEC championship game. Thusly, I have picked Alabama to win this game. Look, Alabama has just looked too good. Granted, it's been against the Miami team that maybe is overrated. I think we're going to find out again this weekend if that really is the case. Also, for Florida, hey, we're going to find out how good they are. We're going to find out how much this defense has improved. Again, this is the week of learning, I'm calling it. We're going to find out a lot about a lot of teams. I do have Alabama winning this one, though, 41-30. I think Florida keeps it close for a little bit, maybe for a half. And then again, Alabama pulls away in the second half. Bama's look like Bama. There's really no other way to describe it. And until someone proves us otherwise, you got to keep picking them, right? Florida can pull off the upset here, but I do think that the Crimson Tide roll in this one. Auburn is going to be forced to deal with the whiteout, which I was surprised to find that this was the whiteout game. Usually Penn State saves it for a conference game. Who knows? Maybe they have 2 whiteouts this year. We'll see. But this is the whiteout game. They're going to face Penn State, SEC Big Ten battle, prime time on ABC. What could be more fun? Now, this is Auburn's first Big Ten game, and Big Ten road game, and I believe over 90 years. So throw the history books out on this one because this is going to be a fantastic game. Granted, this is the Tigers' first true test. They haven't really played the best opponents up to this point. Again, Akron, Alabama State, not really great teams. I know Alabama State is a FCS opponent, but Akron, again, not one of the better FBS opponents. So this is really going to be a test for the Auburn Tigers and really what Brian Harsin and the squad can do. Watch Bo Nix versus Sean Clifford. Quarterbacks are going to have a big day, I feel like, in this one. But I also feel like the run game is going to be a huge factor in this one as well. Tank Bigsby versus the plethora of running backs that Penn State has in their backfield. So it's going to be a dogfight. I think this one's going to be close. But I think the whiteout is just too much. And Penn State, what they had to prove last week against Ball State was that their offense can get going. And they proved that. So I think Penn State wins this one 32-21. I think Auburn can keep this one close. I think this can prove to be a defensive game. But I am picking Penn State here to win this one just because, again, I'm not too sure about Auburn right now. And again, it's the whiteout game. There really should be no question. The whiteout is the toughest environment to play in the entire nation. I think Penn State gets this one done. All right, Tulane. We're going to find out how real the Green Wave are this week. In fact, that's one of my what to watch for is they get another test in the 17th ranked Ole Miss Rebels. Can they pull off the upset this time? They were close to pulling it off against Oklahoma. Again, they had to fight back their way to come back, try to pull that one off, just came up short. Maybe they can pull this one off. We will see. 8 o'clock game on ESPN2. And the Rebels are the 14-point favorite with the over and under being 76.5. So Ole Miss on the field, lots of offense expected. But we know there's going to be offense in this game. The Rebels' defensive improvements is what has impressed me the most out of this team. And I think you're going to continue to see them improve in this game because Tulane, they're not a pushover. I think Tulane is going to give Ole Miss a nice test, a nice test of how good this defense really is. But Ole Miss has the X factor on their side, and that's Matt Corral. That's it. Watch Matt Corral. He is on fire. He is hot. Through the first 2 games, he has played so well. Incredible, amazing. Dark horse Heisman candidate coming into this year. I think he can push his way to New York in the late stages. Ole Miss, this is going to be a tough game because I do feel like Tulane is a lot better than people think. I still think the Rebels pull this one out, but closer than expected. 45-34. Tulane, can they pull off the upset this time? We'll have to wait and see. Oklahoma State and Boise State provide an interesting under-the-radar matchup. So I think a lot of people are going to be focused on the upsets this week, the top 25 matchups. But I think this game right here is the game that a lot of people need to have their eyes on because this game is going to tell us a lot about both these teams. It's a 9 o'clock game on Fox Sports 1, and the Broncos, 3.5-point favorites. Kind of surprised to find that out, but the Cowboys have struggled early. Does that continue in this one? They're going to go play on the blue turf. Pretty hard place to play. One of the hardest places to play outside of the Power 5. Boise State's a program that has had their struggles of sorts throughout the season, but again, they played UCF, a team that I have in my top 25. Really good team. And then they came out last week with an explosive offensive bout against a team in UTEP. Spencer Sanders. Watch Spencer Sanders. He hasn't played a lot these first couple weeks. In fact, I think he was out for that first game again. No, I know he was out for that first game against Missouri State. In that game against Tulsa, he played okay, but I know Spencer Sanders can play better. Even without Hubbard in the backfield and Wallace at wide receiver, I know Spencer Sanders can play better, and I want to see that in this game. Takeaways and turnovers are going to be the main thing here as well. Both these defenses like to force turnovers, and they thrive off of it. Oklahoma State, you saw that against Tulsa and Boise State. Again, UCF, they were able to force turnovers. They were able to get stops. So defenses are going to come up, be a huge key in this game as well. But I have a feeling in this one. I have a feeling that the odds makers are right in this one. I think a lot of people are going to look to the Power 5 bias and pick Oklahoma State here, but they have struggled so much in the early going. I need to see a lot improve from Oklahoma State in this game if I want to pick them to win. So I didn't. I went ahead and I picked the Boise State Broncos 33-27. Pretty interesting game here to watch. This one should be a lot of fun for the Broncos. Get it done on the blue turf field. Top 25 matchup here is the Arizona State Sun Devils and the BYU Cougars. We're each going to look to make a statement in Provo. BYU kind of already made one when they beat Utah last week, but they can make an even bigger one here if they beat the Sun Devils. And the Sun Devils, you got 2 pretty easy games to start it off. This is where the real test begins. I think JT Daniels is going to cause my apologies. 10:15 game on ESPN, so Pac-12 After Dark. If you're up for it, stay up for this one. It should be a lot of fun to watch. The Sun Devils favored by 4 with the over and under being 51.5. I think JT Daniels is going to cause problems for the Cougars defense. Again, JT Daniels can do everything. He can throw, he can run. JT Daniels can do a little bit of everything. It's going to be hard for BYU to defend that. They haven't really seen a quarterback like that this year. So we'll see what happens there. Pass rushing is key. We know both these teams can do it. Both these teams have some excellent pass rushers up front. They're both going to get pressure to the quarterback. Which one comes away with the better stat line? Now, this isn't the 2020 BYU team. This isn't 2020 BYU. But is it better? I think we're going to find that out in this game here. Is this BYU team better than what was put out on the field last year? We're going to find that out this week. It's going to be a huge game to watch. Provo is going to be lighting it up. The fans are going to be loud. This is going to be an exciting game. Sorry for the background noise, by the way. But I do think that Arizona State pulls out what they win here. BYU's been very impressive, beating 2 Pac-12 teams to start off their season. I don't think they can make it 3 in a row. I think Arizona State brings too much to the table with a dual threat quarterback in JT Daniels and some of the most underrated running backs in the country. This one's going to be a lot of fun to watch, though. If you're up to stay up for it, please do. Should be a lot of fun. I have the Sun Devils winning by that 4-point spread. They're favored by 24-20. as they get this one done. And for the final matchup I'm going to be previewing here, I'm going to go through this one a little quickly. The video's a little longer than I wanted, but 10:45 is the game here. And if you get games on the Pac-12 network, hey, watch Minnesota, Colorado. That one should be fun. But also keep your eye on this one. Fresno State and UCLA are going to match up in Pasadena. They're another upset bid brewing. So Fresno State made that Oregon game close, and I think everyone rode Oregon off because they almost lost to Fresno State. Fresno State's not that good. I think this Bulldogs team, look at my third bullet point, I think this Bulldogs team is real good, and they've proven that. They've proven that this year. A shutout win against UConn. Granted, it's UConn, but they played Oregon close, and then they went out and blew out their opponent last week. It's going to be an interesting game to watch. UCLA is the 11.5-point favorite with the over and under being 63. Can this be Dorian Thompson-Robinson's breakout? I've yet to see him play up to the level that I kind of want him to play at in order for me to really believe in this UCLA team. I think that's going to come into play here. But on the other side of the line of scrimmage, you got a guy in Jake Haener. He is going to match, maybe even beat what Dorian Thompson-Robinson puts out on the field. And I think that's key for the Bulldogs if they want to win this game. The rushing attack should be prevalent as well. Both sides put out some pretty darn good running backs. So this one should be interesting. But I do feel like UCLA is going to come out with a win here, closer than expected, just like that Oregon game. 36-30 is my final score. I think this Fresno State team is real good. We're going to find out how good UCLA is this week as well. They already beat a really good LSU team, but now coming off a bye, can they win a game that a lot of people probably are going to think they should win? This is a sneaky matchup here for the Bruins. What happens in this one, we're going to find out. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to make this outro quick. There's a lot of background noise behind me. So again, if you liked what you saw from me, hit like, subscribe, comment, share, do all that fun stuff. As always, remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. This is going to be the week of learning. We are going to learn a lot about both of these teams this week, about a lot of teams this week, We're going to learn a lot about a lot of teams this week. Can't wait to watch the games going on. Should be a fun one. I'll see you guys with my review on Sunday. Goodbye.